2 in the moment. I might just change the stage as well. Find one which is more appropriate for geese. Where is it? Actually towards the back. I'll also do it suitably epic. Alright, so couple of different things today, fam. So the first thing will be general game plan. So as you guys are probably aware, and I've harped on about in the Discord and things like that before, there's the general game plan in KOF is a little bit different than your traditional anime fighter, street fighter, that kind of thing. So obviously, you guys are not the neutralists at the moment. I'm the neutral, yay, moving around, chilling, we're blocking, might be doing some rolling because that's a unique mechanic to KOF. Hops, hyper hops, jumping, super jumping, all that kind of stuff. So it's, I guess the way I kind of see it is that the hops, they're basically your main pressure because, they're very fast, help you get in, beat a multitude of options, if especially if they're not ready for them, and frankly it's very quick and easy to overwhelm someone once you jump in, like you jump in, that's like, easy 25%, that wasn't even an optimal combo or anything like that, it was just, basic, jump C. Actually, even before general game plan, I'll just quickly cover the buttons. So there's different ways to do it. I mean, people use like light punch, heavy punch, but I'll just stick to more kind of anime notations just to make it easier for you guys. So you got A, which is just your basic jab or light punch. C, your heavy punch. Then you have B, which is your light kick, and then D is your heavy kick. And then you have C plus D, which gives a knockdown. Well, yeah, depending on what you judge with. So that's actually one other thing I'll kind of cover later on with combo structures, that kind of thing, is that CD, especially jump CD, allows you an extra hit on can hit. So basically, it creates like a semi juggle states where, like, well, actually, I'll just show it. It's easier if I just show it instead. Turn off guard. So do that, and then I can do that to reset, or often if I'm pretty sure it's universal, I'm not 100%, I should probably check, just so I'm not making things up. A jump CD into another CD move causes like a hard knockdown, which means you can't like roll once you're on the ground, and that kind of thing. So it basically limits your wake up options after you've been hit, or generally speaking what I like to do is just go for the reset to do that into a normal, like a jump normal, or like just a jab or something, just to put them in a state where you can go for a throw or a low, things like that. Anyway, so that's, I guess you could say, the general game plan in KOF is you want to get in, start your pressure, use the block swings, that kind of thing. So it's, I'd say it, like, on paper, it seems like a pretty simple game, but simply because hops exist, it means you basically have to always work around that one mechanic. So, for example, I could probably set up a recording. It's been a while, so just bear with me. I might just set the bot to just press a button. Yeah, like it should do. Actually, yeah, that'll do. So, as I saw, it was a pretty useful image earlier today. So basically, hops are also a good option in pressure after like doing a string, because, well, I mean, because they're so fast, unless the person is ready to react to you in the moment, they can just basically like jab you out of your pressure just to put you on check. I mean, most general like large buttons are either, I mean, I'm 90% sure they're always safe. Often like +1, +2, that kind of thing. If you're really fortunate, it's +3. Like characters like K-Dash. And just in terms of general, pressure. Yeah, you just be like, use the standard, like if you jump into your basic movies, that kind of thing. One thing which is pretty specific to KOF and I know, you know, it's even honestly stuffs me up at different times is how deep you actually have to do to confirm the follow-up hit. So you have games, you know, like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, you name it. Generally speaking, off a jump normal, there you get a lot of hit stun, whereas in this game you really have to time it, otherwise well, in short, they're going to punish you afterwards because, you know, they're out of hit stun, so they'll often get... got a bit stuck there. They will often be able to have the opportunity to either hit you afterwards, and commonly they just throw you because, like, well, that's fake. Unless you hard read that with like a DP or something, then you know you're gonna be a bit sad because, you know, then, you know, your pressure's over, you're in the corner, and the corner, like any other fighting game, is not where you want to be because that's generally where they get really good damage, and if they, you know, have the right amount of bar and, you know, the maximal combos, you know, you're probably dead or very close to. So, you know, just something to keep in mind. So I'll just show an example of that. So I'm not going to do a recording, just have to imagine it for now, but I might tinker around with the recording mode at some later point just to show specific option selects and that kind of thing with throws and that kind of thing. But basically, like, I'll just set it to guard after the first hit so you can make sure that, you know, it's a true block string. Yeah, that button's really good. So let's do that. So yeah, it's more of a Rio thing because you know, I think his jump normals have a lot of hit stun. But generally speaking, some other characters, like for example, I'll just quickly switch it to my man Hydern, and you'll see that for his jump normal, like you see that doesn't combo, so like it just wasn't too good for just the one. So you need to do like a really deep jump in. Generally speaking, what you want to do is you want to aim for their legs. This is a short version, unless the particular character has a lot of hit stun, or I think counter hit might add a couple extra frames. I'd have to confirm that with someone who's a bit more familiar with that. But generally speaking, if you want to do like a hop or just a jump in, just aim for their legs, so you can make sure that you can confirm the combo. So yeah, just something to bear in mind. And again, that'll just come with time and practice, and otherwise you'll be getting used to being thrown after the initial hit by your opponent if they wake up, or maybe they might do a reversal, or roll. There's a bunch of different options they have, but generally speaking, you want to make sure that you're definitely confirming your jump-ins, because, you know, you can generally get pretty good meterless damage in those kind of situations. So there you go. Alright, so I'm just going to go back to my man Rio just to keep things simple. And I'm just going to double check what's... Oh yeah, so kind of haven't covered it so much, but, you know, we're talking before about hops and how important they are in KOF, that kind of thing. So, you know, again, like, they're a strong option because, you know, they give you movement. They obviously, you know, beat lows because they hop over them. One of the purposes behind them in the first place, I think. Yeah, so basically it's just all around, just a very good option in pressure, because unless they, you know, start anti-airing you, then it's like, well, go for gold, like, just go nuts. You can just, you know, use the classical options, you know, go for the overhead, that's a command overhead, by the way. Go for the standard, like, double overhead kind of stuff, empty into throw, empty low, you know, all your kind of standard options in a, I guess you could say, traditional anime fighting game. So yeah, in terms of beating hops, I'm just going to quickly set the CPU to jump, just as an example. So actually it might be, is there a hop option? Geese, I just want you to just do a little jump. Yeah, that'll do, yeah, it's hop. Alright, so I'll just move myself into the corner, like a good boy. Yeah, so someone jumping in there pressuring you, and, you know, obviously you don't want to deal with that because, you know, they're on your face, and again, like, if they hit you, especially in the corner, you're going to explode. Like, it's just isn't a nice place to be. So often, for most characters, you know, you'll be using your light kick, so you're oh, actually, I think the can is still on you. Whoops. So using your light kick or your light punch, depending, you know, how big it is. generally speaking, probably a light kick. So, or another option I like to do is because it's a little bit more damage, and it's, I guess, slightly riskier, especially if you're confident in your jump norms, just to just do like a jump back jab or something like that, or jump preemptive like that, like jump back button is a really good option, especially if you're confident in that, because you know, not only is it the kind of semi-mental damage because, you know, they're like, oh, okay, so I can't just hop in for free every time, but just being aware of just, you know, how good the hops are, and, you know, then you have like super jump or that kind of thing, so, and, you know, if circumstances, you can, get the right height, I should be able to run under, might just be on counting it. Anyway, that's fine. So yeah, so that's, in terms of general game plan, is hops are amazing. This is a very, very short version, because again, you know, unless they're very confident in the anti-airs, and provided they're ready for, provided they are not ready for it, then, you know, just keep abusing it as long as you can, and obviously, you know, keeping in mind, you know, spacing. Are they the kind of person who likes to use reversals, that kind of thing? So again, even just being aware of the characters. Gonna stop you jumping there, Geese. You jump around like a madman. Yeah, it's just being aware of. I don't. Just keep him still. Stop. There we go. Just chill, Geese. So yeah, so being aware that that's the, I guess, the main pressure option. You know, of course, you can run on the ground. Generally speaking, it's recommended after, you know, you get like a hard knockdown or something to run to them. Generally speaking, I'm not, you know, using run a whole lot, just because obviously when you're running, you're not blocking, so it means you can be just get, you know, hit out of it, or they can, you know, reversal if they have a particularly strong one or that kind of thing. So just, you know, general movement, you know, like spacing and making sure that you don't, you know, with too many normals, you know, the kind of standard fare stuff that most players would be used to. Some people, especially at high level, you know, seem to like moving buttons like this because they're in the hope that the other character will, other player rather, will get a bit lazy, and, you know, they'll try and jump on you and they'll be like, oh, I'm just going to jab you out of it, or, you know, they might, you know, use a particular super or reversal or something just to bait it out. So just, you know, all things to be aware of. I mean, I think kind of moving on to the next part is just general game plans depending on your character. So Rio, for me, I guess he's more of a kind of, he's a pretty balanced character. Like he's got a fireball, he's got a couple of like specific moves to kind of get you to respect and, you know, move around fireballs and that kind of thing. And, you know, of course, he's got a DP because, you know, he's basically, well, to me, he's kind of like an anime version of Ken, well, in a sense, because he's got all these extra tools. Like he's got a guard point, so that'll just, you know, vacuum in your attacks if you time it right. So yeah, so you just could say, like, for me, I play him as like a defensive rush down style character, and because it moves like this, like it's pretty active, has a decent range, and it's always safe provided, you know, you're not like over on top of them. So, you know, just, you know, basic stuff, just knowing, you know, safe string enders and that kind of thing for your characters. And again, you know, there's a listed on the Discord, which I'll put up the link later on as it's relevant. But yeah, so just, you know, this, I guess this archetype is like, I generally like to like kind of hang back. If they're the kind of person who, you know, they start to roll, I'll start to use this a bit more because, you know, the range is pretty good. It's very active. Like I can basically like lift a light one and then just like run up and probably meaty if I'm really paying attention, or you'll just beat it out. I've always also had some specific instances where this fireball actually just beats out some normals. I think it's just because the hitbox is massive. And then, you know, he's got his variety of supers. To also, you know, get people who like using full screen or mid screen fireballs to respect him, and that kind of thing. Not so much referring to game plan, but just general stuff. It's just to be aware that supers are incredibly unsafe, and outside of very specific circumstances, generally speaking, you want to hit confirm into them. This isn't like Street Fighter and some other games where you can kind of just use it like a reversal, because generally speaking, you're gonna eat crap if you try and just bust out with them to see if the other person's paying attention, because generally speaking they're not particularly fast, and again they're incredibly situational. So again, I wouldn't really use them out unless you are particularly big brain, and although getting meter in this game is relatively easy, it probably shouldn't be a big part of your general game plan, especially as you're starting out. It's just better to just either wait and punish, or wear them down with anti-airs, or just run in and beat the crap out of them. Like, there's definitely obviously lots of very strong options in this game, overheads, that kind of thing. So, but yes, in terms of just general combo structure, that kind of thing, so you do like kind of Street Fighter-esque stuff with some small extras, because not generally speaking, but some characters get specific juggles, especially in the corner. Rhea again is a pretty simple character, so this particular hit causes a hard knockdown. So I believe he only gets it off a heavy normal, so basically like a light confirm would be just be like the light hien Shapukuk, or however you say it. I should probably know because I've been playing this character forever. And yeah, so generally speaking, you want to finish your combos with hit confirm and finish your combos with a hard knockdown and I'll get to the more specifics of Oki and stuff later on, but it's also just good to know is that characters have differing wake-up timings. So provided it's like not a soft knockdown, like after this he can roll and recover, which of course you can punish if you're ready for it with a throw, that kind of thing. But it's generally good just to go, if your character has the option, just go for a hard knockdown. And generally speaking, a lot of the supers also cause a hard knockdown, which might get you a good mix-up afterwards, depending again on the super. It's pretty nuanced in that there's not really many homogeneous frame data stuff in that regard. It's mostly just the lights and that kind of thing. So again, just like basic cancels and stuff. But yeah, if you feel free, if there's anything you feel like I've missed out or want to cover either in this video or the next one, just give me a heads up and I'll definitely let you know. But just wanted to give the basic rundown today and just see what people think. Am I going too fast? Is it with particular characters you want to see played, or archetypes and stuff? Because this is it's a series that I really enjoy, and I guess you say I'm trying to continue to the hope is to continue to build up the scene for the rest of you guys too, and as we learn the game together. So I don't know it all, but I'm slowly getting there, guys. Okay, so that's Rio. So I guess that's one archetype, like sort of some type of like hybrid, like rush down style defensive character. So next I'll cover more of like actually a King is probably a better example of this. A rushdown character. So, sorry, no, she's a zoner. Oh man, my brain. Alright, so yeah, so big normals, very safe, good buttons, pretty easy to hit confirm on. Thanks to her close heavy kick, her close D. Yeah, I mean, her general plan is to to keep you out with big, meaty, big buttons. Use fireballs at full screen, or just rush you down. She has a where is it? Oh, there we go. Proximity unblockable. So I guess you could kind of think of it, if you guys are familiar with command grabs, that kind of thing. It's sort of like that, except the difference is it's not a guaranteed hit. Obviously you can jump out, that kind of thing. Let's see if this works. For some reason it isn't coming out anyway. Oh, there we go. Sorry guys, I'm a bit rusty. So yeah, so just being aware of your options, and I guess her best complaint, at least the way that I definitely play her, is just you know, fill the screen with fireballs, and you know, if they're jumping, then I might just like press a button just to kind of feint that I'm going to do something, and then like, actually this button's probably a bit better for that. Yeah, just, you know, keep them at bay, maybe frustrate them a little bit, just, you know, like, oh man, how do I get in? You know, obviously you can like roll through it, that kind of thing, and then if the zoner is ready, they can just walk up and just smoke you. And yeah, so, you know, nothing you guys probably wouldn't have seen before. Characters like Sagard and Street Fighter, and well, like, not that he's a super strong example because of how aggressive and because of Super Dash and stuff and Dragon Ball, but Frieza is definitely, you know, a classic example of a Zona style character, like wanting to enforce like frame traps and keep you with full screen and just trying to, yeah, force like a mid to long full screen game plan. So yeah, there you go. So that's King, and also like these characters I'm covering as well, I think they're really good at a beginner level because, you know, they got big active buttons, very safe, generally speaking. Relatively easy combos as well, so I think, you know, you definitely can't go wrong with King, and she's just, you know, a great character as well. Maybe a bit biased. Alright, so that's the Zona. So the next one we'll cover is the Grappler archetype. It's the classic. Alright, so this is Clark from the classic Akari Warriors series. So Clark is an interesting one. So amongst grapplers, I'd say he's probably... Oh, actually, there is one character who's a little easier than him. But Clark is probably what I'd consider to be one of the most straightforward grappler characters, because some of them have these like crazy inputs and that kind of thing. But I think, like, generally speaking, Clark is a good go-to if you want like a grappler style character, and because of, you know, rolls and because, you know, people like to like hop in and that kind of thing, I think grapples are like really a very solid choice in KOF, and they're just, you know, they're just really fun, which, you know, again, is always a good thing. So it doesn't feel like as much suffering as, say, you know, again, just a traditional game like Street Fighter or maybe even Unis, that kind of thing, because they have just so many options to get in. Their buttons are generally, you know, big and very active. Like if they hit you, let me just see if I can get the combo. There we go. Yeah, I mean, look at that damage. Like that's ridiculous. It's almost 50% meterless, no bar needed, and he gets really good. Gets pretty good Oki afterwards. So I think, you know, Clark or Maximum probably a very good start if you want to try a grappler star character. Again, you know, of course they got, you know, well, that's actually a hit grab, but have the classic command grab. This one's actually a vulnerable one, so not only would it, you know, beat buttons, it would also beat, I think it might also beat DP as well. So basically that one you have to jump it or do what's called an alternate guard. So basically, think of alternate guard sort of like fuzzy blocking. So basically, like, you say you're blocking down, just chilling, you know, wanting to wait for the mix-up, and like he runs towards you, like, oh crap, I don't want to get hit by this. So you basically I think you just quickly alternate from down back to back, and, you know, well, not that I've had to do it a whole lot, but I just quickly do that. But, you know, again, there's a bunch of different options with be that, probably, you know, regular throw, like another hop, that kind of thing. But, you know, it's not a command grab is not a automatic easy, you know, they're going to hit you every single time if you know these different little mechanical things. And thankfully 2002 Ultimate Match isn't too heavy on the option selection, at least in the, you know, when you're starting out. Actually, while I'm at that, there was one other quick thing I want to mention. So, you know, we talked about Oki before. So, say a situation like this, like you've actually been thrown. So, one common thing a lot of players do is, because you tech with your heavy buttons, so C or D. So basically, I guess you consider it a 50-50, and generally speaking, the punch goes forward, the kick goes back, just holding forward kick or forward punch. And the It's going somewhere with this. Oh yeah, so basically you have to tech with that button. The window is pretty reasonable. It's not like Guilty Gear games like that where they just kind of automatically get absorbed. But actually, hold on a sec. Yeah. I just realized I couldn't actually see the chat because I went full screen. That was my bad. Yeah, so basically you tech with the. If you think that they're gonna throw you behind them, you tech with D/heavy kick. If you think they're gonna go forward, you tech with heavy punch or C. Generally speaking, and again, depending on the character, some get hard knockdowns off their regular throw. I believe Clark does from both of his. It seems to be more common, especially in grappler characters, and he's got plenty of options for hard knockdowns off his throws and that kind of thing. But don't necessarily have to go into that until we do maybe some more specific character breakdowns and stuff. But I just wanted to kind of generally show what a grappler looked like in KOF. What are his options? Again, the grab, decent option. Yeah, so definitely very fun, and to me, like, I never really used to think much of Clark. I thought, oh, Ralph is my boy. He's more of like a rushdown style character with one command grab, and Clark is like a full-on, like, he's got anti-air grabs, he's got ground grabs, he's got grabs for days, and he can do, again, like a lot of damage and that kind of thing. So basically, for this character, you just want to focus on getting in, mixing them with command grabs, getting in their head, as grapplers generally tend to do, and just going from there. And again, big active buttons can make it tricky to do regular jumps. So they have to be always ready for that. So yeah, so that's a grappler, and I think that's most of the regular archetypes in KOF. Let me just double check, see if there's anyone you might pull outside of that, because basically you have, so Rio, Robert, Yuri are pretty balanced. They have some basic fireballs, that kind of thing. King, can zone. Maya's actually a pretty interesting one. She's got a pretty balanced toolkit, good movement options in the air, kind of thing. Kasumi just does everything. She can't zone so much, but she's got an air fireball, parries, you name it, she's got it, and an extremely active jump kick. So again, like a very good option if you're learning the game. Actually, I remember this is. I'm gonna shout out to my mate Momo, just because he's probably gonna be watching at this point and be like, "Oh Ben, with Dragon On, this is so boring." So I'm gonna show him something cool. This is so. As you guys can see, 2002 has a pretty big cast. Like it's massive, and again, a bunch of these characters are in the Ultimate Edition. I think they're around 2010. The original game, of course, being 2002. And one of the reasons why this bottom row is banned is because they're not just because they're bosses, because of what they're able to do to you with no resources whatsoever. So I'm just gonna bust out Old Mate Ignis, and I'll show you what this guy can do with no resources. Hold on, let me just see. That was heavy. Here we go. Hold on, just let me get it. Oh wait, I'm stuffing it. There we go. So that's 50%, but you can actually loop this infinitely, and this is a DP. Oh, I forget the timing, but I'll just try it one more time. I used to be able to get it mid-screen just from messing around. Anyway, yeah, so other than just, ridiculous normal, like that's like 3 frames, so like, you're not racking to that, and that's ridiculous, and you can compare it to... Maybe it's this. Oh, here we go, this is it. Yay! interaction, combos, balance. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to the combos for the other bosses, but let's just say that that's not even the most broken thing that they can do. But yeah, so there's a very good reason why these characters are banned, and it's a pretty polarizing thing, especially amongst the community, about the return of boss characters in future installments for this very reason, because you know, generally speaking, they were designed to basically cheat you out of coins in the arcade and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely very fun characters. My hope is that Geese and a couple others return, but hopefully a little yeah, exactly, a very fair and honest character. Exactly, Solidus. So my hope is they'll return, but they'll be more balanced and, you know, not automatic, you know, top tier broken stuff. Because I mean, especially, you know, characters like I think probably the most honest boss character is definitely Gonitz. He's got some really cool stuff. He's got fucking where is it? He's got like a little teleport thing. He can summon tornadoes just because. Decent normals. Yeah. And I hope he returns, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's just a quick look at the boss characters. I'm just gonna have a quick look through, see if there's any archetypes I might have missed. Oh, there is actually one other specific thing I should probably cover. This might be a little jank, but just bear with me. Actually, I should test it on. There we go. I'm gonna show. I mean, it's not uncommon to have like short characters in fighting games, but there's very specific things with the shorties in this game, just because of how some of the combos and stuff. So thankfully, there's only a handful of short characters in this game, being Chin, Bao, and I believe Choi, who he looks like a little Edward Scissorhands type character. So in short, some normals and special moves will simply whiff over their heads. So for example, I'll go back to Harden again, try and zone out Chang. Actually no, sorry, I gotta have him crouching. Yeah. So normally, you know, full screen control, good against hops, that kind of thing. Chang doesn't care, he can just crouch. And again, you know, some specific moves actually do duck under some fireballs, so just, you know, be aware of that. And, you know, we can cover very particular matchup related stuff maybe in a future video, maybe once we've covered, you know, all the other fancy stuff like max mode and that kind of thing. So anyway, just something to be aware of if you wanna play, you know, the short characters in this game. They're all pretty good. I mean, other than maybe select for you, there's not really any character who I wouldn't recommend outside of the banned boss characters. So just, you know, go for your life. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go back to character select and have a quick look at my notes, see if there's anything. I covered different wake up timings. Well, I guess it's sort of covered again. I'll just go back just to make sure that it's a bit clearer. Yeah, these two are a bit of a thing. Ryu and King. Yeah, so Oki after a knockdown. So again, it depends, you know, especially after throws and stuff, since not all of them cause a hard knockdown. It means that you know, they can roll out afterwards, and you know, unless you catch onto that, you know, they're gonna get out for free basically for a tiny bit of damage. I mean, throws don't generally do much damage at all in this game. It's more so about, you know, mix up afterwards or just, you know, mental damage for later on. You know, you get a big, oops, get a big, you know, hit and just delete them. But yeah, generally speaking, like off a throw, like especially if it's one like that, you just run and keep pressuring, or just do like I haven't honestly properly landed them yet, but there are safe jumps in this game, especially like a high pop, something is nice and fast, covers lots of ground. So it means if you think, oh, they're gonna DP when I wake up, and you know, just like other games, DPs in this game are very, very unsafe. So generally speaking, how you want to punch them is just you run up, you block it, then you have to run up and hit them. Whereas other games, you know, they leave you nice and close after they're in that airborne state kind of thing. So just another thing to be aware of. I say in general, King of Fighters compared to Street Fighter, reversals are not a particularly good option. I mean, of course, you know, they're good if you think, oh, they're not going to safe jump. They just keep pressing buttons and trying to get under me. Actually, you can use some, like especially like Ryo's light DP is a really good anti-air. Does decent damage. They're obviously very active. Can be pretty good at using it as an anti-air, but generally speaking, I would only use reversals if you really want to disrespect them, / if you think that they're pressing someone where they should not be pressing. Just because, you know, especially if they know their combos, again, go back to like max mode or even just a basic combo, like if you're near the corner, like you're gonna just probably lose 40-50% off most characters or be put in a ridiculous situation nonetheless. So just, you know, something to be aware of. Which of course, you know, I'm personally more of a big fan of guard point moves just because there's particular circumstances where they might provide a bit of pushback, so you know you're safe and it's still like a good get off me option. Again, depending on the character. Personally, I like to do it with Old Mate Maxima. Now Maxima's a interesting character. He's actually one of the slowest in the game, grappler star character. But one of the things which makes him really awesome in my eyes is that he has this hard knockdown, guard point, relatively fast, covers, you know, cover a lot of space, very active. You know, obviously you can just, if you time it right, you can do like a jump over him and cross up behind and just give him a bajillion damage, or just like roll through it if you time it right. Obviously, if you time it wrong, you're probably cooked. You can't come afterwards, so you know after that you're fine. It does decent damage considering it's one hit. That's pretty good. And he also has built-in guard point on each of his heavy punches, all of them, and you know, again like this, I believe this as well. So it's, I don't know, I think, yeah, I guess it's more so my style character to try to play more defensively, try to bait out buttons and stuff, and then, you know, oh, they whiff a button, aha, and then chunk them for a bunch of damage. Yeah, just something that kind of came up when I was thinking about it before, so just, and again, just another thing to keep in mind. Yeah, hopefully they can give my boy Maxima a bit more love in the future games. But yeah, anyway, that's a different discussion for a different day. So that's just, you know, some basic. Okay, so generally speaking, you just run up, press the button. Oh, this is also something really important that you guys may or may not know. So, unlike Street Fighter and Grand Blue games like that, far normals, outside of very specific characters, you actually can't combo afterwards unless you're in max mode. So you see my inputs on the left there, right, off the top. Oh, sorry, down the bottom rather. I'm pressing his rocket cannon attack thing, and it's not coming out because it just doesn't link. Or rather, it has to be a close normal. So again, just another thing to bear in mind. It can make it a bit tricky, especially in very specific circumstances where, say, you know, when I go like a button into a wrecker, and you know you whiff a button, you're like, oh crap, what do I do now? Do I keep the wrecker going, or do I stop it? Am I still safe? But that's more of a, you know, just being aware of your frame data and all that kind of thing. So yeah. So I'm just gonna double check. I think there's a few more little things. I think I've covered. Yep, some basic frame data, combo system basics. Oh yeah, it's also pretty common. Most characters have, have at least one or two command normals, which is generally either, well actually, yeah, generally either a combo tool after a close normal or an overhead. So for example, that is an overhead, but the second hit, because it's already part of the chain or whatever, actually the second hit, because you can't, it's only classed as an overhead if it's by itself, okay? So you don't have to worry about, oh, they're gonna mix me, it's gonna mix me mid-combo, and just like delay and then go into that. Which obviously you can do, but I mean, it's relatively risky. Some characters like, say, K-Dash, his overhead, which is his forward light kick or forward Forward B is unreactable and also gives him a hard knockdown, so it's pretty grimy. But yeah, just a bit of one extra thing that you have to be ready to block, I guess, if they have the right messed up that combo. But you probably get the idea. So generally speaking, if you want to do that into max mode, if you know the combos and that kind of thing. So yeah. But anyway, we'll cover more so the specifics of that in a future video, because it's quite a bit. I think it's quite a bit to unpack, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys too much. The very last thing I want to cover actually is just defensive use of meter, because I mean I currently have 5 bars, but generally speaking, it takes a bit of time to do that, to gain that amount of bar, because by then, like, first character you have 3 bars, next character is 4, so you gain the option to store up to 4 bars, and then the last character you can store up to 5 bars for your anchor character. So just going to turn on make him start moving so I can show off some defensive options. So alright, Takuma, come on. They hit me. Sorry. Stop throwing me, Takuma, come on. Kind of show off the... Oh, I'm just going to change to a different character just so that... or him to a different character so I can actually, yeah, this one. Show off the defensive mechanics. Oops, never mind that. Yeah, so it's a roll cancel. Generally speaking, you want to be doing that after specific records because, generally speaking, they can do the first hit, they'll be safe, but sometimes they'll cancel. Sometimes the second or third one to use like a frame trap, so it's an easy way to punish them. By overhead. Well, that could have been bad. Let's get it by. You also have. Let's go back here. Come on, Ryu. Just hit me. Where's my... Oh, there we go. The blowback. So basically, it causes a tiny bit of chip. Good if they're again, using long strings and you want a bit of breathing space. As you guys can see, my block, my guard meter up there is taking a bit of grief. Takes a bit of time to regen, so it's going to be probably playing a bit more. Man, even 20. What is wrong with this guy? Let him. Yeah, so you want to be using it in situations where they're pressing a lot of buttons and you want them to get off you, and you have 1 bar. So it just costs 1 bar to do the blowback. And that's just back forward, C plus D, heavy punch, heavy kick, and the same with the roll. So normally I just bind C plus D and the roll, and also it's good to bind your BC, which is max mode cancel. So yeah, so plenty of good options to get people off you, and obviously in the corner that gets a bit scary because they can bait that out, especially the roll. Sometimes they'll just do like multiple lights and then wait until you cross over, so you spend a bar to do nothing, but depends on the quality of the person you're playing against. That's not something I'd ever recommend because that's extremely unsafe, but this is the CPU. Yeah, so I think that's mostly it, guys. If you have any other questions, just feel free to ask in chat. There's a couple other things I want to cover in a future video, mostly about max mode stuff and maybe just some specific character stuff, nuances in particular characters, like what their combo routes are and general game stuff like that. But I think that should be at least a good and fair start. Lights are, again, like I said, lights are very good. anti-airing, and generally speaking you don't want to be regular jumping if you can just hop instead. Before Maxima, just hop into the guard mode. Yeah, you don't want to be jumping around like this because it's so very easy for them to anti-air you. Like cross under, there's so many different not so fun options if you just regular jump, unless you're particularly baiting on like a fireball or a button or something. Oh, also, so jump CD, it's always a mid, so it actually has no overhead property, so be aware of that. All your other jump buttons always have overhead property, and some even have some command air normals. Oh dang, I could have really come off there. Yeah, what Ryu is doing, I don't recommend that at all. Just spamming supers and being really unsafe. Oh. Yeah, see, it's active. Oh, see, yeah, it's got some sort of guard parry frame from the fireball. In the late active frame. And special super. Max is another good one to start with. Unfortunately, again, like he's pretty slow. Does big damage. Just big and active, but I think playing him is a bit of a scrub. So unless you really like the track, I wouldn't recommend it. To be honest. But after I down the stream, I'll again link you guys with the images for like, you know, good go-to beginner characters and combo structures and stuff. Most of the good stuff is on the main 2002 Discord, so I'd recommend going there. Especially like character-specific stuff that even characters have been playing for a while, just learning new things about them just by asking people questions who've been playing, you know, at a competitive level for a while, so yeah. Oh dang, yeah, that's the other best thing with Max actually, not to harp on about how bad he was before, but his cross-up buttons are really good. Feels like a one-trick wonder. Guard point normal, and big active buttons. Oh, he's also got this as well. Oh, here we go. Here's big super. And the crazy thing about that, even though it uses up, I think, 3 bars, it does like 25% shift, and it's very hard to dodge, so it's kind of a bit of a free option if he ever, for some reason, finds himself in anchor position. Oh, actually, that is one last thing I'll cover before we wrap up, is just general characters, I mean, and positions and stuff. I mean, most of you guys are pretty familiar with, you know, Dragon Ball and some Marvel stuff, that kind of thing. So I'd say, while it is definitely important in KOF, especially as you get to, you know, learn the game a bit closer, that kind of thing, learn some combos and, you know, cancelling to supers and max man and that kind of thing. I think, especially as it's starting, just pick whatever characters you're most comfortable with, because obviously, you know, you want to get used to their, you know, jump normals and their lights for hops and anti-airs and all that kind of stuff. And also, generally speaking, you're not going to cash out your meter very often because, you know, supers cost one bar to 2 bars, and then the low health super costs 3 bars, I believe. So honestly, just, you know, characters like Ryu and Robert, Yuri, most of the art of fighting characters are definitely king. Kusanagi is pretty straightforward, has a lot of really good tools. Kasumi, as much as I hate to admit it, is a very good beginner character because she's got very active normals and good options and pretty easy to hit confirm her stuff. multiple hits on her thing. Takuma, while not as strong as his children and students, is a good defensive character, especially if you happen to play the EX version. Got some very disgusting options and stuff in anchor position. Shingo is pretty straightforward, does really good damage, especially in the corner for minimal meter. Good juggles and stuff. Chun is more of a specialist character. Okay, I might just kind of give a general overview of each of them. So Kyo is like an all-rounder. The only thing he really lacks is a fireball, and you know, he's got his Wreckers. Bodiga, as you guys might know from Sunday stream. Good normals, relatively easy confirms, juggles, and you name it, he's probably got it. Like literally all he's lacking is a fireball, and if you want that, just play Kusanagi, and he's, I'd say, probably a little bit easier. Oh yes, EX version converts a regular rat. Thanks for reminding me, Solidus. So, I'd say generally speaking, for those who have EX version, or in the case of these three, Shirumi, Chris, and Yashiro, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. So in order to select them, you gotta hold down your menu button and then select them, just so you know. Generally speaking, the EX versions are... Well, okay, well we'll start basic. So the EX versions, they have the same normals but different specials, and as you could probably figure out, that's a pretty big deal. Like for example, Shirumi plays completely different. Regular Shirumi is like a grappler style character, but Orochi Shirumi is more like a zoner / just pressure monster. And yeah, same with Chris and Yashiro. Like their style of gameplay is generally quite different. I guess Orochi Chris is one of the few where his kind of game plan stays more or less the same with Orochi. It's just better, and he's got a giant fireball. And Yashiro is just does things. He's more of a grappler style character, and I think the Orochi version is more of like a sort of like rushdown style. So yeah, and yeah, Benimaru, good normals, relatively easy combos, good pressure, just a good all-around character. Daimon, again, grappler style character. He's big, very active buttons, does a lot of damage, especially you know if you good at reading your opponent, anti-air grabs, just the classic grappler style character. Iori, yeah, pretty standard Shoto style character, has a fireball, has a DP, also has a command grab, which is pretty nice because he can get some good uses of that, especially if you know max mode stuff, and you know his Rekka pressure is really good. Great cross-up buttons, just good buttons in general. Mature, she's more of like rush down, but she's got some good zoning tools. So I guess she's a pretty good balance of a character. Relatively, well in my eyes, relatively difficult to play well, but I think definitely worth it. Again, similar advice. It's more a grappler style character. Has some pretty big and active normals. Definitely not for the fan of heart. I'd say she's probably one of the harder characters in the game. Terry, you know, he's again a pretty balanced character. He's got some zoning tools, anti-air, DP. He's got just a whole bunch of different stuff. Pretty good buttons. Just a good all-rounder, just like he classically is known to be. Andy, oh boy, this character is kind of cooked in this version. Yeah, big damage, great corner carry, good Oki, just generally very strong. Definitely high on my list of characters. If you want someone who's a little bit trickier, but very scary, very you want to get in their face and just push them until they snap. That's the kind of character you want to play. Joe is another all-rounder, kind of similar to Terry, except he has a kind of more zoning tools. Got a couple of rapid fire punches, which basically just mash on the keys and it gets out like a little combo thing, and can lead into Oki and good damage. Again, not for the faint of heart unless you really like pressing buttons. I think there's certain shortcuts to make it a bit easier on your fingers, but I haven't found them yet. So you have Nameless, yeah, crazy good character, one that basically the best anchor in the game because he just has the ability to just nuke you with his supers and juggles and stuff. Pretty difficult to play optimally, and generally speaking it's been regarded that he's really only like SSS tier when he has meter. Like he's got really good normals and you know good neutral and stuff without that, but he's not really the character you want to shove at any other position than the back. So we already kind of covered Rio, just generally good normals, lots of get off me tools and the guard point, that kind of thing, and just general all around pressure. You have Robert and EX Robert. EX Robert has a proximity command grab and a bunch of other extra tools which regular Robert doesn't have. Robert is more of a kind of standard Shodo style, and I guess you could just say EX Robert is just Robert but better, if I'm to put it plainly. Like, both the characters are definitely still pretty good, but EX Robert is a very, very strong anchor, so definitely recommend. He's also a charge character as well, which makes him a little different. Yuri, really good character. She's got a very, very good set of tools, guard point. I guess you could say she's sort of like the even more offensive version of Rio, because her guard point, she can combo afterwards for big damage, and just her general tool set makes her very mobile, very difficult to catch. But she's probably one of the strong. Next to King, she's probably the strongest Art of Fighters, or character from Art of Fighters. Right, Athena. Apparently she's not as strong as she was in previous games, but I still think she's decent. She's got some zoning tools, decent buttons. She's got a dive kick, which is always fun. Oh yeah, Robert has a dive kick. Or one of the Roberts do. I forget which one. Pretty sure she has a command grab, DP, all that kind of stuff. So another pretty well rounded. I think she's pretty. I consider her pretty beginner friendly. She doesn't seem overly complex outside of again, classic max bow combos and stuff. So yeah, pretty good character. Kenso, there's also an EX version. It's basically just Kenso, but regular Kenso but better. Has some slightly better specials just to kind of zen him out a bit more. It's got a DP, it's got some guard point stuff, but I think kind of falls short from the kind of stuff that these guys have. It just has less, and his normals just aren't as good. So I think it's a bit more struggle to really succeed with Kenso unless you really like the character, or if you're learning him like I am at the moment. So Bao. Yeah, this character is, let's just say, he's not particularly popular because he's a short character, extremely good zoner, lots of get off me tools, very mobile, just a royal pain to fight. So you either love him or hate him. I personally am not a big fan, but I will learn him at some point just so I know how to fight against him. He also has one of the easiest, really high damage max mode combos in the game, which is kind of nice. Not that that really says much at the base level, because it doesn't matter which character it is, they're probably going to be pretty hard. But it's it's worth mentioning. Alright, Vanessa, another rushdown character, decently big normal. She'll get in your face, and she's got a couple of like feints and that kind of thing to move around to bait out different movement option, that kind of thing. I think just because of how fast this game is, she kind of falls apart when you get in her face. But once she's in there, she can get pretty scary, even though she's not as strong as her previously in 2002. She was really good. So I don't remember exactly what they adjusted, but let's just say it's you got to take big risks to deal with Vanessa. I think is one of the big issues. So Seth, yeah, very solid character. I'm not really sure what to describe him. He's incredibly mobile, so I guess it's sort of like rush down-ish, just because he's got specific air movement options and parries and stuff. So he's just kind of a mixed bag character, but yeah, very solid. His normals are pretty big and does pretty decent damage. So Ramon is a grappler star character, a bit different than the other ones because he's got like these Rekka style things which let him comment to different things, and his Oki from what I've seen is pretty good. Not very commonly played, but I think definitely not one of the weaker characters, but definitely still possible if you really like that kind of character. So Leona, another charge character. Oh, rather, I'll just say this now. So the Akari Warriors all have at least one charge move. Leona has quite a bit, and Hydon is mostly charge special mostly. There's something to be aware of. Yeah, again, another rushdown style character. Pretty big normal. She has an install as well, which is her one of her supers. Makes her move ridiculously fast. It's very scary. Yeah, pretty cool character. Has some anti-fireball and anti-hop stuff if you can set them up. Yeah, generally pretty good damage, some air supers and stuff too, so she's pretty flashy. Never used to think highly of Lena, but I think she's actually a pretty cool character, so if you want to try out a charge character, she's probably a decent option. Next is my man Ralph. Yeah, he's rush down to a T, get in their face, use your guard points sparingly. He's got an unblockable punch, which is incredibly slow, but obviously in specific circumstances might be useful, I'm not sure. Good damage, basically you want to hit them and then follow up with the dive punch and just go from there. Jump CD and CD are your friends with this character. Kind of already covered Clark, so he's got crouch every occasion, good normals, very active. Obviously, you know, just putting out buttons in neutral can be a bit scary, so just be aware of that. Yoshiro, don't know much about him other than the fact that I think it's regular. Regular is a grapple, and the Orochi version is not. He's more of a rushdown style. Probably a bit weaker than these characters is that his options aren't as strong. His normals are pretty big, so that's something, but I need to look at him a bit more before I can properly comment. Shomi, like I said, grapple style character, some pretty good buttons. Orochi Shomi seems to be more regularly played just because her zoning options are really good. Has a ridiculous super which has a 50-50 chance to either kill her opponent instantly, so it's literally just pray and press a button. So that's kind of cool. That'll be very fun to watch in tournaments at some point if she comes back. Chris, yeah, another rushdown character. Big normals, very active. I think he's got a couple of plus frame moves or moves which leave him at... he's just very mobile. Like, he wants to get in your face, he'll just like eat you alive. He's pretty scary. He also has a command grab, which he can come off after, which is just pretty swaggy. Definitely a pretty good character. K-Dash, one of the best characters in the game. Basically him and Kula are up there for like one of the top point characters in the game because he doesn't really need any meter to do well. Big normals, very active. Doesn't have many plus frames other than his close light jab, but it's just you move him to the corner because a lot of his specials give lots of corner carry, so you do that 50-50 with either low or overhead into the hard knockdown, just rinse repeat. It's just, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Kind of already covered Maxima, a slower, more defensive grappler style character. Pretty easy to pick up, but you know, again, it's probably one of, if not the slowest characters in the game. Lots of recovery, so yeah, always feel free to try him out. Like, he is very easy to pick up, so if you just want to mess around, he's probably a good character for that, but otherwise I'd say probably just leave him alone. Whip, kind of sort of zoning style character as well. She's got a whip, hence the name. Couple of different range options, overheads, and it's just dancing with her whip as well. Pretty cool character, not oftenly played, but I think definitely has potential to be really good, especially if you're like me and you like to keep your opponent at like mid-screen. Kula, classic kind of Shoto style character. She has a fireball which is pretty active and has a good range. Gross damage off pretty much every hit, especially if she gets an overhead. Great corner carry. Anti-projectile moves. Yeah, it doesn't really need any bar to put on the hurt. A very strong character. And also pretty easy to learn as well, so would recommend if you're picking up the game. Foxy I haven't played with much, but she seems more of a kind of rushdown character with very big normals because she uses like a little sword or a rapier. Has a DP, a couple of different things. Oh yeah, so Kula and K-Dash also have DPs because K-Dash is technically a Shoto style character, but a little different. So Angel, can't really comment. She's kind of grappler style. I haven't really played her much. It doesn't really interest me, but she's, I think, the kind of character you know you kind of start and then just snowball just like other grapplers, but just being a little more focused on the wreckers and cancelling into different things to always keep them guessing. Kim is a rushdown character. Has some air options with air dive kick, a couple other things, good normals. damage is pretty good. I'd say he's probably a little better in mid or anchor position just because it's very easy to spend bar with him without, you don't really need max mag combos as much, just because he can just do his 2 double quarter circle forward kick and it launches, and you can just do that into super for 2 bars. Or just obviously get straight into the super. One of my favorite characters. Apparently he's not as strong in this edition, but I still think he's quite fun. Would recommend if you want a easy character who also has like a DP and, you know, good buttons, and one kind of character who's more in your face. Pretty easy to hit confirm as well because his close D, so his close heavy kick. His 2 hits, so it's very easy. He confirm after you get a hit, so that's nice. Chang, don't know much. Big and slow, just like old mate Maxima. Yeah, he's got some ginormous buttons. Other than that, I don't really know much about him, to be honest. I'd have to look it up more, but definitely a character you probably like if you like someone with big buttons and guys with beards, I guess. Alright, next is Choi, another kind of, he's an interesting one. So this character is pretty unique even amongst the rest of the cast. His jump arc is quite different. It's very very fast and sort of floaty, so if he does like a super jump, he's gonna, you know, go to the top of the screen. Kind of reminds me a bit of Vega from Street Fighter in terms of his movement. Does decent damage. I think he has some charge inputs as well, so definitely not an easy character to play, but I think if you're a character who likes to, you know, frustrate your opponent and play someone who's a bit more unconventional, I think Choi is definitely a good pick. Next is Jun, another Taekwondo user just like Kim, so the actual rivals apparently, and he's got a stance, has guard break in his stance, he's got overhead, he's got a bunch of different really good tools, great buttons. Oh, this character has a lot. Put the fear of great characters in mind, and Jun definitely comes to mind when I think of very strong characters. Definitely not easy to play, but I think if you're like the kind of person who likes to press buttons and bait out and maybe troll a little bit, Jun's probably a good choice. Have Lin, the assassin. Yeah, great character. His damage is a bit on the low side, but he's really good at just general mix options at different situations. Mid screen and full screen has like a fireball style thing. Teleport, a couple other things. Has a overhead built into his special moves, I believe. Command grab, super, a couple other things, and yeah, just all around really solid character. Next is Shingo, another Shoto style character, another rushdown. So Shingo is basically just designed to be in your face and hit you. Unfortunately, the only real downside of Shingo, despite his ridiculous damage considering, you know, he's Shingo, the joke character, is the fact that his only real safe special to finish on is his light punch wrecker. Well, not wrecker, sorry, it's just his light punch. So makes it a bit sad. Basically means you have to be really good at hit confirming, otherwise, you know, he's going to eat dirt. But other than that, like, he's a very fun character. He's got command grab super, or his level 3 version rather. And yeah, like, definitely pretty easy to pick up. Great, you know, again, great combos. He'll delete you if you play him right. So, and that's even without max mag. My goodness. Yeah, but unless you particularly want a very kind of, yeah, I think he's a good character for a beginner player for sure. Just if you're aware of his weaknesses. Old mate Yamazaki, been playing this character for a while, on and off. A bit unconventional just because he has so many different options to disrespect pressure, whether it's his projectile counter or his punch, which he can delay and just cancel at any time. So I feel like it's really good to, especially to punish people who get in a bit impatient, because it's just such a good option. Decent damage, some of the highest max made damage in the game, so basically if you have 5 bars he's going to cook you if you know the combos. They're pretty hard though, so definitely not defender hard. Playing a basic Yamazaki, he just zones and, you know, just does like a, you know, jumping heavy into your super is fine. He's also got a command grab as well, the command grab super. So he's got options to open people up, and also his angle on his anti-airs and his jump-ins are a bit unconventional, so they'll take a bit of getting used to, but they're all quite good. Blue Mary, another grapple star character. She's probably one of the weaker grapplers in this game. Can't put my finger on why since I haven't played her in a long time, but I think the general consensus is just her. She seems a bit unsafe, and it isn't as easy to just get going with guys like, say, Clark, or later on coming Hinaka, who's currently the best grappler in the game, or is the best grappler in the game, really. But yeah, definitely, you know, pretty good character. She's got command grabs and slides and all sorts of other fun stuff. So I'd say she's relatively easy to pick up, and she's pretty fun. So if this is the kind of character you like, I think she might be for you, Momo. Anyway, moving on, we got Billy, another zoning style character. He's got a big staff, so just like how he likes to hit you with his big stick, and just get in 4+ frames with his forward light punch, which sort of looks like an overhead, but it actually isn't. And then just bully you with the staff the whole game. He's not a particularly difficult character to play, but it's more so just that, you know, you're expecting to just hit them a lot and punish, you know, jump in from hops or just regular jumps and that kind of thing, and just frustrate them. I really enjoy Billy. I think he's pretty cool. But definitely, if you're not a big fan of zoning style characters, he may not be the one for you. Although you can sort of play him like Rush Jam, but it's not really my style. Anyway, moving on, Harden. Very strong character. Huge buttons, has a command grab. Command grab super, a couple of different little bits and pieces. You can also drain the opponent's health, so that means it's actually really good for one anchor. Say you're down, you know, 1 versus 3, boom, you know, you start stealing all the juice and coming back, and yeah, I think he's very fun. He's not particularly easy to play because of the charge. Well, if you're not used to charge rushing characters, and some of his links can take a bit of time, especially if you want to confirm into a super. But other than that, just, you know, really good character. One of the strongest anchors in the game at the moment. So yeah, definitely a cool option. Next we have Takuma, an EX Takuma. Takuma is more defensive style character, so he has an invisible fireball which goes about mid-screen. Pretty good, causes guard break, but he's actually minus afterwards, so it's basically just you know, I guess you could say this is time stalling technique / sometimes it can beat out particular normals because it's very active. And also, if you like characters with extra parries and stuff, he has a button which can absorb 1 hit. So is 2-2, I think it's 2-2 C or D, I believe. So it's very situationally useful, and he's got a guard point which is very slow and a couple other things. EX Takuma is more offensive based, so he's got a full screen fireball, command grab, that kind of thing. The main difference between him and regular Takuma is just regular Takuma also has some unblockables if he happens to land his Power Shokuken, because he's quite plus afterwards, and because it causes a guard break, you can confirm into a close heavy into a full combo. So pretty cool. Like I said, definitely one of my favorite characters, but definitely not for everyone. If you want a straightforward kind of shorter style character with really good options and just just elite characters, just play EX Takuma. But if you're more a defensive player like me, regular Takuma's fine. Gets the job done. So, all right, nearly there. Just a couple more characters to go. So we have Chin. Again, one of the few short characters in the game, just like Bao and Choi. Got some pretty good defensive options, some which go under fireballs, anti-air with, he spits alcohol, or alcohol which is on fire actually. What else? Yeah, pretty decent character. I think he doesn't seem particularly strong in this entry compared to later games, but he's definitely a very fun character if you want to troll and just lie down and wait out. He's got some very particularly unique tools that only he really gets. So haven't played him in a long time, but I found him very fun in the older games. So pretty awesome. Right, Zhang Fei. Yeah, again another Russian character. Not really my style of character, just because of how she plays. She's got a very active fireball, command grab super, command grab, which is very active unfortunately. Basically her game plan as usual is just jump in and hit them a bunch and they die. Yeah, not really much to say about this character, since I don't really play her, so. Alright, Hanako. She's a sumo, so she's actually a very, very strong grappler. One of her grabs moves you from the entirety of the screen, so say you're on the other edge of the screen and get back against the wall, you hit that grab once, they're on the other side of the screen. And just continuous pressure with the slaps and that kind of thing, so she's incredibly scary. Not so much for her command grabs, that's an extra. It's mostly her slaps and other things which give her plus frames and other stuff, and potential infinite if you don't know her strings. Very, very scary character. I'd say pretty straightforward to play considering how good she is, but again, just depends, you know, if this is the kind of character you enjoy. So, alright, Melee. Melee is pretty unique. She actually has two different modes: a hero mode and a regular mode. The hero mode has a couple of unique special moves, that kind of thing. They're all pretty flashy and fun. This character used to be a lot stronger in Vanilla 2002. I think they just adjusted a bunch of her frames, made a bunch of things unsafe, so she can't really. I find it kind of hard to get going with this character. Still, again, you know, very fun. I guess she might have that unknown factor going because no one really plays her at the moment. So yeah, so hopefully one day there'll be some kind of melee master will come out, maybe be one of you, who knows. Okay, so probably might have covered this before. If I didn't, my bad. So there's a few Kyos in this game. So you have Vanilla Kyo, or I guess I like to call him just Kyo 2002, who has the Wreckers. Then you have Kusanagi, Kyo 2 and Kyo 1. So Kyo 1 I believe is basically modeled after the version in King of Fighters 94, so he has like a fireball, a bunch of other things. Pretty decent all-around character. Probably, I think, it's generally regarded as one of the weaker Kyos in this game, just because his damage is a little lower. I think his supers just aren't as good, or in certain circumstances, and the maximum combos aren't particularly impressive. So yeah, Kyo 1 is I'm not a huge fan. If you like, you know, that's that character, that's all good. Kyo 2 is more of a, I think he's got some records and a bunch of other cool stuff. A very strong anchor character. Just to be able to just burn through you with the maximum cancel stuff. Yeah, he's pretty strong. He's definitely up there. I'd say probably mid to high tier, based on what I've seen at least. Kusanagi, incredibly powerful character. Definitely my favorite version of Kyo in any game so far, at least. Doesn't have records, but he's got a fireball. He's got a hit grab. He's got the kicks into the juggle, which is the classic. Just, you know, very fun character. If you want to kind of balance all rounder, Kusanagi is definitely, you know, the way to go. And his yeah, some of his cancels can be a bit tricky, but he's definitely a good character to pick up to start, just to get used to all that. So, alright, kind of already covered King, Zonistar character, one of the best zoners in the game, just because of all our options. Pretty easy combos, decent damage, very easy to hit confirm off her close normals, or at least the close D. Proximity unblockable. She's got a bunch of tools, so if she can play it close or long range, doesn't really matter. If she's in there, she's gonna hit you somehow. So. Alright, second last, we got my the classic SNK KOF waifu. Again, you know, very strong character. She's got some good zoning tools, anti-projectile, air mobility, and like dives and that kind of thing. Yeah, good damage, especially if you know the max mode stuff again, as always. Yeah, pretty good all-around character. Seems to struggle a bit with damage at times, but I think overall it's generally not a huge issue in KOF when you have three characters to burn through, so don't think it's a huge deal. Alright, last but not least is Kasumi. One of the best characters in the game. Can fit any position, again because she's got great damage, records are really good, parries, just general pressure, jump D. Is a very active, ridiculous button, very difficult to punish. And just an all around really good character, so yeah, I believe that's everyone. So I'm just gonna double check and make sure that I have covered everything. I think that's it. Okay. Alright, I think that's it. Alright, so I think I'll just leave it there, guys, and hopefully next time, if you have any questions from this one, just feel free to let me know. I'll add it in for the next video. My throat is casually dying, but yeah, thanks for everyone who tuned into the stream. Hopefully, we can have some more of you guys next time, and I'll catch you around, hopefully online. All right, going to quit the stream. Catch you later, guys. And thanks for tuning in to Ben's beginner question and answer.